Welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me today, ladies and gentlemen. I always appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk a little sports with you here, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world, as we always say, on the iHeartRadio app. It's awesome to be able to do this every day, and I'm thankful for that. I really am. It's not like some fake stuff that comes out when I when I say that. I mean it seriously. All right, so I want to thank you guys for joining the show today. Here we go. Alan wants me to give my favorite Georgia Bulldog fan a birthday shout out. Well, happy birthday to SEC Dog. How you doing, SEC Dog? I didn't know it was your birthday. Anyway, shout out to the folks watching on the stream over there. We appreciate you guys joining the program today. As I mix up my Spark Energy drink to get me flying through the show today, we have our first set of lines out from FanDuel, and I wanted to go over some of these today. By the way, you can find all of these up on the blog page at foxsportsradio1400.com. Look for that. You can also see Dabo Sweeney hitting a home run against with the Clemson softball team last night. Go and check that out. All kinds of good stuff on the blog page over there. Make sure you check that out. All right. So with that, remember that I said I have the bookcase of accountability. If you look into the Fox Sports Radio studio, Teddy Hefner in the mornings on from 9 to noon, he gets the top shelf because that is where that's where Teddy wants to go. He's been here the longest. He gets the top shelf. The middle shelf goes to Lawton Swan, even though he doesn't bring his butt into studio anymore. That's pretty much what that boils down to. But we still appreciate Swan. He's got his stuff there. Now, the third shelf is the bookshelf of accountability. What that means is that I put stuff over there that I say or that other writers put out, and we see who's close, okay? And that way we can come back later on. So I have in my hands right here, this is stuff that I put out on May 17th, which was, 2 days ago, when I did predictions on the early lines for some of the matchups here for the opening week. Let's see how well I did with some of these games. We'll start with, now these are games that were released by FanDuel. They didn't put all of them up, okay? So let's make sure we put that out there. UNC at Virginia Tech, the Friday night matchup. I had UNC -4. If I get within a point or a point and a half, we're going to say that I was close. They've got UNC -6.5. That's the starting line for the UNC game over Virginia Tech. So I absolutely missed that one. Some other matchups. Let's see here as we go down the line. What were the other ones here? They didn't list all of them for week one. They only listed a couple. These are the future sites here. But let's see here. LSU over UCLA. I had that at UCLA -5. They've got that at UCLA -3. What, man. This bookcase of accountability, it's going to end up helping me later on because I'm going to show people who write stuff and then think, oh, it's just going to go out there. I'll use it for a little bit and then it'll just come back. Yeah, all that's going to go away, but it's kind of beating me in the face right this second. So there's that. Louisiana, excuse me. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Alabama at Miami. I had Alabama -19. They've got Alabama -17.5. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a win. Exactly. All right. So I'm like 1 for 3. Let's see here. There was one other line. Okay. Oh, and then of course, Georgia and Clemson. I had Clemson -5. They have Clemson -3. So there you go. I'm 1 for 4 with these early lines that have come out. Now, in addition to that, I got to give you some of these other lines that are out there. I didn't pick these lines, but a lot of these were for, I had the FSU game, didn't I? Yes. Yes, Notre Dame -9 over FSU. I had Notre Dame -10. There you go. So there you go. I did get another one correct there. Anyway, looking at this, there are some other lines that are just kind of silly. Week 1, Louisville, a 7-point favorite over Ole Miss. Excuse me, a 7-point underdog to Ole Miss. They're getting 7 with Ole Miss. Week 2, Oregon, a 9-point underdog to Ohio State. Think about that. Put that line out there a little bit. That's going to be tough. Other week 2 matchups that they had some lines on. Iowa is a 4.5-point favorite over Iowa State. Now, week 3 is interesting. Alabama goes on the road to Florida. Now, people thinking that's going to be a worthwhile matchup in the SEC. The odds makers think not. Alabama -15. That's your future bet on FanDuel right now. In addition to that, Tennessee in week 4 is a 15.5-point underdog to Florida. So think about that too. In week 5, Auburn is listed as a 4-point underdog at LSU. Cincinnati's a 3-point underdog at Notre Dame. Michigan is getting 9.5 with Wisconsin. Texas getting 1.5 with TCU. None of those really stick out, except the Auburn game. I think Auburn's going to be hot dog water, but we'll find out. Week 6, Georgia is a 10.5-point favorite over Auburn. And then what's probably the SEC West matchup of the year, at Texas A&M, the 12th man, Jimbo Fisher, with his 10-gallon cowboy hat and, you know, his belt buckle that just says Jimbo on the front of it. Yeah, that guy. He takes his Texas A&M team. They are a 13-point underdog. Okay. Tony online says, if you gamble, some of these futures are attractive. I've got some other ones here that might be interesting. Oklahoma, a 12.5-point favorite at Texas. That's going to be an interesting thing there because that game seems like it's generally close. We shall see. That is in week 6. In week 7, let's see here. Oh, Florida is a 1.5-point favorite at LSU. Those two teams play each other every year. It's always kind of a tight matchup. Still, 1.5 points, basically a pick 'em with the Gators going down to the Bayou. Week 8, Clemson's a 17.5-point favorite at Pitt. Ohio State is an 11-point favorite at Indiana. So that's interesting too. Week 9, Georgia is an 8-point favorite over Florida. Clemson's a 27-point favorite over Florida State at home. I say book that now. I think that Dabo is still angry about what happened at Florida State last year. I think he's going to drop the hammer on Florida State. People are going to be getting an extra series here and there to run that up a little bit. Michigan, 6.5-point favorite at Michigan State. I don't know how good Michigan State's going to be, but that's still an interesting Big Ten matchup. Here's the line that I look at, and I'm like, whoa. I went back and checked it 3 times just to make sure that I wasn't crazy because it was that far-fetched. LSU, a team that some people think is going to be a top 12 team in the country. If you go online right now, you can place a bet at FanDuel and get 24 points with LSU on the road at Alabama. Wow. There's some people that love some Alabama. Or maybe they don't think LSU is going to be worth anything, but 24 points. And I know this is early, but wow, crazy stuff there. In addition to that, Clemson's a 21.5-point favorite at Louisville. Week 11, UNC is a 4.5-point favorite at Pitt. Georgia is giving up 21 as they go to Tennessee. I'll take Georgia. Georgia's going to stomp Tennessee. I just see that happening. Miami is giving up 12.5 at Florida State. Florida is giving up 9.5. They go on the road to Mizzou. A couple of interesting Week 11 matchups there. Week 12 has Iowa State +8 at Oklahoma. Week 13, which is rivalry week, you've got Ohio State -10 at Michigan. Oklahoma -12.5 at Oklahoma State. and Alabama minus 18.5 at Auburn. So there's some of your early lines. And I tell you what, the one that sticks out the most to me is what is a potential top 10, top 15 matchup with LSU on the road at Alabama. I know we haven't seen these teams play yet. I know people are like, well, Bryce Young's supposed to be great, but let's just be honest. He hasn't really had that realm of I'm taking over as the starting quarterback. There is hatred that it's, if we live here in Columbia, we kind of know that LSU and Alabama fans don't like each other. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment, but there is some bitterness in that rivalry that I've learned in the past, 18 months. I mean, they just don't like each other at all. And I think that if especially after what happened in 2019, where if you listen to LSU fans, they think they won by 700 points, when in reality, Alabama was right there with them. I mean, it was, Joe Burrow had to be Joe Burrow plus basically to beat them. And it was like the first time that they won in like 8 matchups or whatever. So LSU fans, they put their stamp on that. And then last year, it's a COVID year. You hear that a lot. But the reality is that they put the boots to them. They really did. But 24 points. When I think of the SEC defenses that used to dominate the league, didn't we have like an Alabama LSU game where it was like 12-9 or something like that in one game? And you'd have teams lined up, just defense. The defense was the key. Now, LSU, who won a national title 2 seasons ago, they're a 24-point underdog on the road at Alabama. Tony's right, 9-6. Thank you, Tony, online. He also says Bama should win, but it isn't realistic to think LSU won't be vastly better. And I agree. I completely agree. But LSU's season, of course, hangs in the balance when they go to Alabama. I think everybody agrees with that. So that was kind of the big thing with me there. LSU plus 24. Wow. And Georgia plus 21 at Tennessee, even though I think that Georgia's going to just face blast Tennessee there. But what's your favorite line of the ones I called out? Do you like the Iron Bowl with Alabama minus 18.5 at Auburn? There you go with that. And it was 9-6. So thank you guys. My bad. I can't remember all those matchups, but there was definitely some offense. It shows how the game's changed too, where Nick Saban is kind of, we're going to have good offense now. We can't just line up in the power I and run the ball and expect to get 250 yards rushing, 135 yards passing, whatever, and just expect our defense to carry us. That was the way it was before. So interesting stuff there. We'll take your calls at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. I'm kind of I missed on all of them except for the what was it? There was 2 that I got right. So that was 2 for 6 or something like that. But the bookcase of accountability does keep us in check. We'll take your calls at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call to join us here on the rundown. If you'd like to talk about some of these opening lines, Louisville giving up 7 getting 7 from Ole Miss. They might think that Ole Miss is going to be just kind of a one of those teams that they could, in theory, quite possibly, maybe sneak up on somebody. Maybe they could take down a Texas A&M, or I'm not even going to say Auburn because I think they're online with Auburn right now. But let's say Texas A&M, LSU, or Alabama. They could win one of those games. I don't think that's far-fetched, to be honest with you. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, you can also check us out around the world on the iHeartRadio app. And, of course, podcasts will be up at 5 o'clock. I've got other things we're going to get into today. You've got South Carolina winning last night over Appalachian State. And apparently, folks are thinking that with the university, as I said before, COVID goes away when the Mountaineers leave, basically, because they're opening up the stadium to full capacity for the matchup with Tennessee. So we will check on that as we roll along. Let's get out to the phones really quick here before we roll along. And welcome to the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Hello, Rob. It's Bobby and KC. How are you?
Hi, Bobby. What's up, brother?
Well, I would hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. Out of all the Lions I like, I really think Alabama's really going to take it to Miami on week 1.
Yeah.
Being from Miami and being a lifelong Hurricane fan and seeing all 5 national – well, 4 down there. I was up here for the Larry Coker one. I think Alabama can cover with 16.5 with the uncertainty at Miami's quarterback position. And Mr. King started tearing an ACL late last year, and I don't know if he'll be 100% ready that early in the season.
Yeah, we'll have to check on that. That's a good point, man.
Well, but I was discussing with a friend who celebrated a birthday Saturday while I was at work. We grew up together. Just he was talking about he was kind of rough with Manny Diaz, seeing he'll always be a defensive coordinator, but also the whole thing with having a quality quarterback like Tate Martell, who came from Ohio State but wasn't really committed to staying there, and he made some rough comments about not drawing like the number 1 quarterback, but yet they went for him, and the situation where he's really non-committal. So I'm not saying the program's in a tailspin, just being an inside Hurricane person. It's a make or break game and a make or break season for Manny Diaz.
You think the Alabama game is a make or break game at the beginning of the season?
Absolutely. Because look here, they had a thing called the Golden Hurricanes Club, and they're essentially the elders in the University of Miami athletics. And if they get a thumbs down, like Julius the Emperor in the Colosseum in Rome, that means let the gladiators kill them.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, they're serious. They're tough because look how they're tough because they're fickle like the Alabama boosters and everybody down there, and they got spoiled with Snellenberger's first national championship. The late Howard Snellenberger just passed away.
Yeah, and
then Jimmy Johnson, believe it or not, was under the gun too because he couldn't win after Snellenberger right away. And I'm not going to just recite 35 years of Hurricane football history.
Right. Well,
but it's a make or break thing.
I find it hard to believe that Miami thinks in what is it, year 3 with Diaz? It's his 3rd year, right?
I think this will be the start of year 3.
Okay,
yeah.
So at the start of year 3, with the boosters that are there, they expect them to be able to compete with Alabama
and Clemson.
Clemson. They've lost their minds.
It would be nothing short than beating Clemson's butt. I keep forgetting if they're in the same side as Clemson. And they're cold. I don't have a magazine in front of me.
Miami's in the coastal. Clemson's in the Atlantic. They don't play each other.
So pretty much, yeah. Sorry to talk over you, but they have to beat Clemson or whoever comes from the other division, the Atlantic, this year. Pretty much, I would say for Diaz to keep his job, they have to beat whoever's behind up in the Bank of America Stadium in the ACC championship, and that's not even, Just it's rough. And I'm going to say one more thing and not turn this into a University of Miami show. Congress, the U.S. Congress and Senate, I had sent you something early in the day.
Sure.
It looks like they're going to stick their nose in the business by July 1st at the national NOI. But I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to turn this into a civics lesson show, high school civics. But here's the thing. There's a term called federalism and anti-federalism. So whatever Congress might dictate or decide to do on July 1st on the national level, they might break it down and leave it to all 50 states on their level. And anybody out there who didn't take high school civics like I did in the 1980s, I'll let you Google the term federalism and anti-federalism.
All right.
But it's probably going to be left up to the 50 individual states on the, on the MLI, going to a car dealership, selling yourself for,
We'll definitely see about that. But hey, man, thanks for calling the show. I appreciate it.
That's July 1st. So today's May 19th. So there might be something coming. So they'll throw, mess it up more or make it better. with kids signing, and so I say that selfishly because, if South Carolina can work something out to tilt it in our favor, well, I would like to see the Gamecocks get some better players to possibly win the SEC, but who knows when that day comes. Maybe I'll never see it. All right. Take care, Rob.
Appreciate it. A couple of things on that. If the Miami Boosters think that Diaz should be competing with Clemson and Alabama at the start of year 3, they are unrealistic at best. Let's think back to, Miami's been, they were at one point a great program, but let's just be honest. Right now, what the Coastal Divisions had, six different champions in a row, something like that, up to one point. Miami needs to take the baby steps. The baby steps are, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to win the Coastal and go to Charlotte every year. Let's try to do that for 3 years in a row. That should be what they're trying to do. And then build themselves up on the recruiting front and get some more players. As far as Tate Martell, I don't think that was an issue of anything other than Tate Martell just probably wasn't as good as people thought. So there's that. But to just say, okay, you got to go out and beat Alabama this year. They're not scheduled to play Clemson, but that's the kind of caliber you need to be in year 3. That is just insane. And that's why a lot of programs, they end up getting rid of people so quickly. And I don't get it, man. I truly don't get it. We'll see how that works out. But, wow, I can't believe they're wanting some or thinking about, hey, he may lose his job just because he can't compete with Alabama in game 1 without De'Aaron King at quarterback. Insane. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, Duke Stadium, it's better to go to, I don't know if you live in Columbia or not there, Tom, but go to Wildcat Hollow. So, yeah, it's a better environment than Duke football. Go catch games at Spring Valley High. Look, you can make an argument that I don't get into the whole conference thing because I think that when you do that, it's basically my team sucks, so we're going to ride the coattails of a team that doesn't. That's kind of how I feel with the whole conference thing. But you can definitely say that you can make an argument that as my brain's skipping on me today, you can make an argument without much of an argument that there's 4, maybe 5 ACC schools that care about football. Truly care. Clemson, Florida State, Virginia Tech, Miami. After that, it's and then maybe NC State. The rest of them are they're competing, but it's more along. They're not in the realm of thinking, you know what, we can win a national title or we can be a relevant program. Whereas the SEC, there's probably, I'd say 8 of the 14 try to consider themselves football schools. I think that's fair, right? Or am I off? So, but yeah, Duke doesn't care about football. It's like a high school stadium. I don't think North Carolina is a top 5 program. I think that's just stupid. I don't know who'd you hear that from? It's like the North Carolina version of Uncle Lou gave you that. I'm not buying that at all. North Carolina is on fragile ground right now because I think they're going to be good this year, but they're not going to be like 10-2 good. Well, send them my way, sir, because I'll shred a North Carolina fan in a minute. You are not a valid anything. You're just lucky you were able to sue your way out of sanctions, basically, where you were giving away African-American studies degrees for nothing. What a horrible fan base they are. They really are. I like Andrew Jones, man. He's He's the guy who writes for Tar Heel Illustrated, one of the coolest guys you'll ever meet. But as far as the North Carolina fan base, they can go, man. Right there with the Duke fans, too. All they want to do is talk about basketball. It's harsh. North Carolina fans really need to shut up on the football front. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world in the iHeartRadio app. 803-978-1832. If you call, we could talk about the betting lines. I'm going to give you a game, and you got to pick it too. Put you up against the screws here. We may get you to pick Louisville and Ole Miss. Do you like Louisville getting 7, or you like Ole Miss and the Fighting Lane Kiffins? And they're going to score 60 points on Louisville. I firmly believe that. My favorites. If I were going to bet, I'll take LSU in 24 points. Just saying. I don't think Alabama's end all be all, invented football yesterday. I think they can win, but 24 points is a lot of points. I'll take that. I'll give up 7 with Ole Miss in the first week of the season. I'll take, let's see here. I'll take Georgia, and I'll give up 21 to Tennessee because Tennessee's going to be terrible. I love the SEC apologists, the people, and I use that term a lot, but the people that are like, Tennessee is going to be, when they do the SEC rankings for SEC kickoff and all that down there in Birmingham, they're going to have Tennessee picked ahead of South Carolina. I think South Carolina right now has a better foundation than Tennessee does. Just saying. I really do. I don't understand. Like, you read a lot of the some of the preseason stuff's coming out. They're like, some people are picking Tennessee to win 7 or 8 games. ESPN's FPI has them at 7 wins. What do you see that I don't? Their punter decided, hey, I'm going to transfer to Memphis. I don't want to kick at Tennessee. I'd rather kick in Memphis than kick in Knoxville in the SEC. That entire team is just insane. Crazy, right? Anyway, I'm not buying that at all, but we shall see. One other line that I like Iowa State +8 with Oklahoma. That's late in the season. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah. My Doge, like, I think I've got some left. I don't have a lot. Yeah, hold on. I don't know how much Doge I got left. I got some left. It got down to like 39 cents, right? I haven't even looked. Oh my God, it is terrible. It was at 39 cents earlier. It's down to 35. Oh wow. It was at 27 cents at one point today. 24 cents. Wow. Wow. What a mess. New Robin Kale show tonight. We didn't do a show Sunday night because I got my COVID shot and it made me absolutely disgustingly sick. I don't normally punk out on anything, but that shot messed me up a good bit. And I got to get the second one or they're not going to let me in the building for ACC kickoff is basically the way it works. Actually, Tom, I bought more Doge today at like 30 something cent. So I bet it jumps tomorrow. That's what I'm betting on. Watch what happens. It's already at, like, if David's right, 21%. Yeah, I mean, I believe in the doctors and everything else, but this COVID shot, I still feel off. Like I'm going to the gym and just like, ugh. And I mean, I work out like twice a day because my chunky butt's trying to get in shape for a competition. And my gym sessions are terrible. And I just want to sleep like all the time since Saturday. It is disgusting what's happened to me. So, hey, Coop, you might be right. I can buy, I mean, I can't buy a full share, but I might buy some of that stuff. Now, I don't think there's a microchip. Did you see the story where people were talking about they went and got their injection and then they ran a magnet across their arm and it was sticking to their arm? I mean, what is that all about? Hey, let's see how that works out for us. What a mess. I don't think I got a microchip. Don't be saying things like that, Tom. You're too smart of a guy for that, man.
Broadcasting from the TrueCar.com studios. This is Columbia's Fox Sports Radio, 1400.
Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. I was talking about my COVID vaccine with the folks in the chat room, saying it's pretty much still got me feeling kind of but I do have some good news on the COVID front. According to Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball, the NCAA plans to open up fan capacity to 100% for the baseball and softball championships. Wow. That's some great news there. And regardless of which side you sit on as far as COVID stuff, man, I've got friends that are like, the COVID's this, the COVID's that. I had COVID. It sucks. But I don't mock any of it when it's killed as many people as it has. And I don't like when people tell me it's only this percentage. There's still people that died. I mean, so it's really hard for me to just sit here. Only this percentage of people died. Yeah, it's still those people did die. They were here and now they aren't. I don't like to get into too much stuff like that. But this is some good news for our country because we're going to have, they're already doing it with like Major League Baseball, but as far as the college sports, this is going to be outstanding because, and they'll start with the softball stuff this weekend. And of course, tomorrow night with South Carolina playing 4th ranked Tennessee. Yeah, you're going to have, I guarantee you, Founders Park is going to be on fire. On fire with everyone there. They kind of relaxed the max ordinance a little bit too. I mean, it's going to be a really, really almost like a surreal type event because we haven't really had that full atmosphere where everybody is there. It's going to be completely different. And when football season gets here, stand by, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's going to be like a culture shock. They piped in the crowd noise, so you kind of felt it a little bit at home, but not really. That's not 80,000 fans at Williams-Brice Loud, where you can feel it shaking your TV. You can stand on Rosewood and still hear the crowd, 2 miles from the stadium, that kind of thing. Yeah, that. All of that is coming back. So the NCAA doing something good there, opening it up to full capacity. They were going to do it at 50%, but why would you do that? Why would you do that? at this juncture, with the progress that we've made as far as people that can get injections and get themselves squared away, why put it at 50%? It doesn't make any sense. Tom says everyone is following after Dana White. Without him, for sure, we wouldn't have had fans back in sports at this point. Tom is correct. Tom is absolutely correct. Because if you remember, back in July of last year, I said, who's going to be the first to have a sporting event? And there were three that came to the mix at the beginning. Dana White, and then you had, of course, the stuff with golf where nobody was there, and NASCAR. Dana White and NASCAR actually had fans there first. So, yeah, Dana White's getting some folks back in the building for UFC. They just had UFC 262. He did say that for the UFC fight nights, they're going to stay at the complex down, or the Apex, as they call it, in Las Vegas, which is smart. But he did say something other interesting on the other front with that. They set up their budget to not have to do live gates of any kind until October. And they had a packed house in Houston. So Tom is absolutely right. You have to give credit where credit is due there. You can make an argument about the WWE doing their thing with WrestleMania. Brandon says they're going to start touring again in July. Yeah, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. So some good news there on the COVID front. I don't have a problem with that. It's good stuff there. I have some Deshaun Watson news that we will share in a moment when we come back from our break. I've also got one former NFL quarterback is calling Bill Belichick a liar. And last night, Shaquille O'Neal about slapped the hell out of Charles Barkley. We'll talk about that when we come back. Of course, if you want to respond to what we were talking about with the lines that came out, where I was like 1 for 5 with my lines at the beginning, my beginning picks at the beginning of the season, we'll take calls on that at 803-978-1832. Shout out to Bobby from KC telling us that Miami fans are up. The Miami boosters are upset. They need to compete with Alabama this year. They need to compete with Clemson, even though they're not on the schedule, for this year. Or Coach Diaz may be shown the door. You wonder why programs don't get built and stay that way. I understand the adage of, hey, you want to win. I get that. But, wow. What do you want, man? The idea of we're going to compete with Alabama in 3 years. If under that logic, Texas A&M should fire Jimbo Fisher. Lane Kiffin should be thinking about, it's my second year. I better be getting close. The Pirate, he might be on the hot seat too. Ed Orgeron, you won a year ago or 2 years ago. You better win this year. You might be in trouble. What a mess. Anyway, call up. We'll get into that with you here at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. My favorite line, my favorite future line, LSU plus 24 at Alabama. Plus 24 at Alabama. Tom says some guy just tried to break into Darius Lewis' car, by the way. Lewis beat him up until the cops arrived. If you break into Derek Lewis's car, you are dumber than dirt. I mean, that guy, of course, the UFC fighter, I think he's the number 2 ranked heavyweight in the world, basically. Sorry, he's not. He won a fight over Ncaa, the champion. Just saying. Derek Lewis is one of my favorite UFC fighters simply because he's got that whole knockout thing. And he doesn't really care. He just wants to fight. Oh, yeah, just pay me this. I'll go in there and fight. I don't want to do 5-round fights. I'll do 3-round fights. Yeah, he does stuff like that. And a good point, Tom. He has the most knockouts in UFC history. That's important too. So, yeah, good stuff there. But I can't believe someone tried to break into Derek Lewis's car. What an idiot. It's like breaking into Brock Lesnar's car. I might break the door off and beat you with it. More of the rundown when we come back. We'll wrap up today's program here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. That's a real story. Someone really broke into Derek Lewis's car. That is crazy.
Spring means that the weather and sales are heating up. People getting out to shop for new clothes, make home improvements, and more. Use the power of radio to connect with spring spenders. Advertise on stations like this one to reach consumers wherever their travels take them. Use iHeart Ad Builder to create your own custom radio ad quickly and cost-effectively. Just click, listen, approve, then hear it on the radio. For a free customized ad, sign up now at iHeartAdBuilder.com. I was lost in a crashing. Push down on the sidewalk. We are your neighbors. Mothers and sons.
Yeah, I follow Derek Lewis on Instagram. I just had Buckeye John call me. Everybody want to laugh over here in the room? He says that he listens to the show every day, but he wants me to cover Ohio State more because they've got the best running back in the country and the best quarterback coming from Texas. Burp, burp, burp. Who wants more Ohio State coverage? You guys want me to cover Ohio State? That's not a fair. I don't like the Lakers ever. The Lakers are injured. They're a 6-point favorite. You know what, Tom? There you go. I'm gonna bring that up when we come back. That's great. We need more Ohio State coverage.
A grand in your hand, $1,000 12 times a day. Listen to win a cool grand weekdays from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. on Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Shout out to Buckeye John who called during the break, and you can call as well at 803-978-1832. He told me that he understands that we cover teams from the Southeastern Conference and the ACC here, but he wants more coverage for Ohio State. He said something about they have a great running back. Tom online said he didn't know that Kevin Harris transferred to Ohio State. That's because he didn't. That's thing number one. And by the way, if you want coverage of Ohio State, just tune to ESPN, where all those guys from Northwestern will be happy to tell you that Ohio State's the absolute best team in the world. I mean, you can have all of that for you. Just tune in. You can catch that seriously on that front with Buckeye John telling us, hey, we've got the best running back, and Kevin Harris doing his thing. He didn't transfer, according to Tom. Good point. But if you want coverage of Ohio State, John, it's fine, man. You're getting tired of ESPN. Is that what it boils down to? ESPN doesn't give you enough where you got all the guys, as I said, from Northwestern that go there, and they're going to tell you about how great Ohio State is. You get enough of that, I'm sure. MCD Sports 4 says, where can you find the lines? The lines are on my blog page at foxsportsradio1400.com. They're all through FanDuel. You can check them out there as well. But right there, I've got them all clipped up and nice for you. at Fox Sports Radio 1400.com. Go check it out there. And you can leave comments on what games you like. So Jimmy says the Miami fan base is delusional. Okay. There you go with that. Acoop37 says, I'm sure there are more than enough channels that cover them. Yes, we'll start with ESPN and ESPN2 and ESPN Classic and the Big Ten Network. And I mean, seriously, it's all Ohio State all the time. So I don't know what Buckeye John's talking about. Anyway, final couple things before we get out of here. Former NFL quarterback Jim McMahon says Bill Belichick is a lying piece of blank. He said that after training camp one year, he was promised a spot a few weeks into the season and wound up taking almost half the year for him to land on the roster. And the team did not pay him as promised for the weeks that he wasn't on the roster. From there, Jim says he called his agent asking him to get the Browns to release him. This is back when Belichick was with Cleveland. He got his wish and was asked by the Browns quarterback coach if he talked to Belichick before announcing his departure. McMahon recalls telling him, you can tell Bill to kiss my butt. He's a lying piece of blank. So there you go. So apparently Jim McMahon did not like Bill Belichick. Well, one other note here. Actually, two other notes. First of all, 3 teams reportedly being mentioned the most for the Deshaun Watson trade. It seems like we have something like this all the time. NFL columnist Matt Lombardo's latest piece cited recent conversation with league executives about Watson's future. He says 3 teams are still being heavily linked to the 25-year-old signal caller. Those 3 teams, ladies and gentlemen, are the Washington football team, the team that is so great they can't come up with a name for their franchise. Also, the Las Vegas Raiders, who, by the way, have a guy that finished, in the top 5 in passing last year. We'll just get rid of him. That doesn't make any sense at all. Then, who else do you got? The last one, the Miami Dolphins. They ran off Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they're in the Tua Tagovailoa set there. I don't know if Tua Tagovailoa is going to be an NFL quarterback or not. I don't. But apparently, those 3 teams are in the mix for Deshaun Watson. We'll see how that comes about. One name you keep hearing, though, is that Miami team, which if you keep hearing the name, there's got to be something going on there. What do they not like about Tua? They moved up in the draft to get him. I know they pulled him at the middle of a game last season and put Fitzmagic back in there to lead him to a win, but what do they not like about Tua? Is there just something there? I don't know. We shall see. We shall definitely see. One other note here before we get out of here. Actually, I've got 2. I'm sorry. First, last night, Shaquille O'Neal got upset when Charles Barkley, who says stuff all the time, but Charles Barkley, they had this kind of exchange, and Shaq was not happy. Check this out.
No. There's 2 mamas you don't play with. My mom and my grandma. I will reach across the table and knock your face off right now. Yeah.
Yo,
all right,
wait.
Chuck.
Oh,
Hey,
wait,
no whole way.
Wait, don't talk about my. Oh my God!
All right, Chuck.
You hit
I'm
it,
telling you right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right.
Talking about people's mamas and. That's great.
Yeah, Charles Barkley there. He did apologize. So, but apparently you don't talk about Shaq's grandmama. Charles Barkley said that the Hornets were going to win last night, guaranteed it, and the Hornets lost by 27 points. Yeah, that didn't go over well. Sometimes Barkley says stuff that's outstanding, and then other times it's like, yeah, okay, not so much. By the way, tonight, there is the play-in game tonight, the late matchup between Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors and LeBron James and the LA Lakers. It'll be fun playoff type basketball because the Warriors could put LeBron James at a point where if they win this game, LeBron's got to win the next game or the season's over. Man, all of these fake Lakers fans, the ones that run around here with Lakers shirts on, never been to the Staples Center, those kind of fans, all hoping to get back to the Shaq and Kobe days. Teams like that or fans like that, all jacked up with LeBron James and Davis and all those guys there. Steph Curry has the potential by himself to knock off the Lakers tonight. And I will be plopped on my couch watching that game. It will be, he could drop 50 on him. He's done it all season anyway. So we'll see how that works. But a very interesting matchup tonight to watch in the NBA. Warriors are a 6-point underdog. A 6-point underdog. So there's that. They will face off whoever ends up as the 7th seed. The winner of this game will be the 7th seed in the West. And they will play the Phoenix Suns, who are doing some great stuff with Chris Paul and Booker, and they've got some good players. So they may get knocked out anyway. But without LeBron James in the NBA playoffs, we can all laugh. Just laugh and laugh and laugh. We should all be Steph Curry fans tonight and watch him just shoot his way into that 7 seed and put the screws to the Lakers and making them have to win later on. Because if they lose, that's it. And of course, LeBron James talking about this play-in thing stupid. Yeah, you go 0-2, you're not going anywhere, sir. Make you Mr. Irrelevant in a matter of seconds. So, looking forward to that. Jimmy doesn't like the 10 o'clock tip-off. He's got to go to bed. Get your beauty sleep. Okay, Jimmy. I think my buddy Lawton Swan will be watching tonight. And actually, he just texted me. He goes, those are fighting words. Speaking of Lawton Swan.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
He'll be on the Braves. He'll be on the Lakers apology tour tonight as he rides his Peloton bike in Castle Day Swan after he does a wonderful program for you with Clemson Sports Talk. That's up next. So be sure to check him out. He's at Clemson Sports. He is a Lakers apologist. My name is Rob Sanders. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. I'm a Steph Curry fan tonight. Please put LeBron James in a bad spot, sir. We'll check it out tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow, all right?